Hello today, my dear viewer. Back to October Celebrations, where we go into Roblox's past and present to see everything this platform has to offer. Today, we'll be talking about an old Roblox game, more specifically, a remake of said old Roblox game, and what will be coming soon from its developers. So let's step it up, shall we? The original The Undead Coming by Pilot was made in 2008, and had a pretty basic gameplay loop. Every round, a few people are chosen as zombies, while the rest are humans, and they have to survive the zombies for the whole round. Humans get more infected, and more zombie types are introduced, like the fast zombies and kamikaze zombies. It was quite simple, but it was good for old Roblox, so it stuck, and was quite beloved. However, now it's dead and doesn't have any players, due to it being broken. However, that's not to say others haven't tried to take this classic and bring it to a broader audience. Let's stop wasting time and cut to the chase. The Undead Coming was released on August 21st, 2020 by AAA Batteries, and it followed a more fleshed out world with many maps, gameplay, and cosmetics. So let's talk about all of that, okay? First are the maps. There are, or were, many to choose from. You had the town, the restaurant, the Titanic, the house, the lodge, the chapel, lumber, and the prison. You get on them from a train in the lobby, which is also quite detailed and holds some little cute areas. Each map had many cool and different ways to approach them, and were quite complex. Listing some examples here, the house has a basement, a cave system, a sewer system, a rooftop, and those areas are many different places to shoot and run from. In the prison you could run outside, though running outside in this game is not advised as you need a mask to be safe, so I'll get into that later. Anyways, you have many sectors and ups and downs to go by, making things like a goose shape for both sides. The Titanic had a linear structure, but with many rooms to go inside and make plans around your escape, and had a ton of space to run around in. I would list them all, but I don't have too much time. The design of these maps is great. I love the way they adapt the old Roblox art style into this game. It feels clean and fresh, while also feeling like you walked 14 years into the past. The game looks quite pretty and is nice to explore, so I wouldn't have blamed you if you hadn't, as there's, the gameplay. The gameplay of this game is very fast paced and adrenaline pumping. Trust me, this game has gotten me so stressed out before, my heart would have been pumping out my chest. There are many weapons this time that you can unlock with bricks, the main currency. There are automatics, semi-automatics, shotguns, a sniper, the minigun. I could go on, but I feel like you should already know what those guns are. There are also utilities like the vest, for extra health, and medkits, to keep your team alive. The maps are also quite enclosed and small in some areas, so it forces you to band together with your fellow survivors and always be on alert for zombies. With how in only around 10 shots can someone be killed, it keeps the players on edge, and encourages trying to get headshots, running away from it, making a distance between you and zombies, predicting their movement to get more shots in, taking advantage of vantage points, sticking together, and overall just requiring players' full attention to stay alive, meaning more engagement. Zombies are a lot different, with many different kinds. They serve all sorts of purposes in killing the survivors. There are the originals, with nothing new about them, fast zombies that deal less damage, hazard zombies that spit gas, which kills survivors and or drains their masks quickly, charger zombies that can charge and tackle humans for good damage, commie zombies that explode on command, and finally, the tank, which spawns when the survivors have an advantage in numbers by the midway point, which is like every round. It's exactly what it sounds like, super strong and tanky. I guess there's the infected zombie for survivors that died to smoke, but it's just a normal zombie but slightly buffed. All of these zombies have one goal in mind: rush the survivors until they die. It's not complicated or very adrenaline pumping, but could be fun to do. You get perks from killing things, healing things, and waiting around, which can be used for cosmetics. Anyone's favorite little wallet munchers made their way into here, and Lord knows that they exist. Yeah, they're pretty much exactly what they sound like. Old Roblox accessories and little references in bite-sized bundles. There's an item shop that rotates common, uncommon, and rare items by themselves for keep. And golden bricks that are gained from Robux, which let you buy crates without getting duplicates, or buying epic or legendary items in the daily shop, allowing you to obtain the drip. There's also t-shirts, but they're free, so they are easy to nab and get an outfit for. And yeah, that's about all I can list off the top of my head. Quite a lot if you ask me. The game had some good maps, gameplay, and was overall just pretty good. It's what I would have said half of the gameplay wasn't utterly fucked. Yeah, remember the zombies? Yeah, they kinda sucked ass, and were unfun to play as. While the survivors are having the biggest adrenaline boost of their lives, the zombies literally just have the neutral face on 24/7. So let's list off the annoyances, shall we? Come on, count with me. 1. In maps like Titanic, Chapel, and especially Restaurant, they're pretty biased to the humans and give them many points where they can camp or just run away, creating wild goose chases with not many areas for zombies to sneak up on them. What makes things worse is that the last man standing gets a lot of speed, and as such can basically just run forever, wasting everyone's time and making things super annoying. And oh yeah, remember Restaurant? Well, I didn't think I should let you know it was literal hell. The map was a big structure of gas to keep people inside or on the roof of the restaurant, with a giant open force field with many spawn locations for zombies, where survivors can shoot as they please. And because of the zombies being slow, it means that they always get gunned down. And to the ones that spawn near or in the building, they also would have gotten gunned down quick, because the survivors can drop down from the building inside of it to kill them. The roof also has tons of room to shoot for survivors when zombies get on it, and overall they are a huge advantage. This is zombie hell, until the tank comes in and kills everyone on the roof, leaving the stragglers to run for their lives. And don't worry, we'll get back to the tank later. What about on the Titanic? Tons of space between zombies and survivors created, letting survivors gun them down, practically competing to see who can get the most kills, until the tank comes in and wrecks house. Chapel? A big open area of vantage points for survivors to gun down zombies as they please, until the tank comes in and kills them all. Hell, it isn't just limited to those maps. Every map, in some way, has a big open field for survivors to gun down the zombies, or a place to huddle up and kill all the zombies quickly, until the tank comes in and kills them all. Speaking of the tank, 2. The tank here is basically like looking at a horse get jumped by a horde of hundreds of people and decided, fuck it, let's give it all 7 Chaos Emeralds, just to stand even the slightest chance. What the fuck was that analogy? Never mind. All you gotta know is that for the first few minutes, the survivors are kicking ass, scoring over and over again, with the zombies being able to do jack shit most of the time, always being sniped down before they get a chance to attack, and even when they do, getting only 1 or 2 hits in before dropping mats. So the survivors getting dogged on and running for their lives as Daddy Tank decides to wake up, doing tons of damage, being faster than humans, and having a ton of health. And what's worse is because of how much the tank matters to every match. If the tank is AFK or crap at the game, which, trust me, happens a lot more than you might think, the game is basically just over. The survivors will 100% win. I think Brendan, the guy who inspired this video, said it best.
The addition of this enemy is, may I add, bad for the game's health overall. The tank, in the game's own words, will spawn when the zombie team is losing, and it's definitely a crutch for the zombie side. The tank is faster than the survivors and can beat the absolute shit out of all of them. There really isn't much of a counter other than just working together to kill it as fast as possible, and it immediately breaks the flow of the game in order to give the zombies an advantage. Don't get me wrong, zombies need a little step up, but giving them a crutch is definitely not the way to go. The game flips on its head from the zombies eating to the survivors eating and it just doesn't feel very organic. I think that zombies should just get a buff altogether.
But what about the other zombies, I hear you ask? Well, number 3, they suck dick. The normal zombie was pretty boring and easy to kill. The fast zombie wasn't very hard to kill even with its extreme speed. The hazard zombie, when it dies, gives the survivors that picks up its gas mask a refill and a much more powerful mask. The charger, even when it stuns someone, could still be shot by the person that it just stunned, as it doesn't disable their weapon, and can be gunned down by other survivors if it's not very high health. And the Kami zombie is just way too slow, since it's activated by command, not by death. And because killing it stops the explosion, it means it rarely gets kills, especially in open areas, which, let me remind you, every map has. Number 4. Around the game's final months, the devs randomly decided that they should just throw the balance out the window and fuck the zombies over. Then, the fast zombies would barely even scrape survivors, the chargers charged would do jack shit, and though I don't have pictures, basically every zombie got a nerf, even the tank, making things so much more annoying. And then they decided they should give the survivors a buff, making their weapons much more powerful, and letting them run wild. This basically meant the survivors couldn't lose, as long as they had good weapons, and because of the game's small size, it meant that there was only 1 to 2 servers at the time. And with a tight-knit community, it meant the zombies were screwed. Even when I was trying my very best, the survivors were winning 6 to 7 rounds in a row, and they probably won even more times in a row when I left because of how numb the game became. So yeah, they really did screw the zombies over. Basically, though the game had good maps, survivor gameplay, and other little stuff, the other side of the game, the zombies, the main antagonists, had little to nothing going for them, and were extremely boring to play, making people groan when they were picked to be zombie. But, despite its flaws, the game was still fun for the most part, and it's quite high quality. Now, you may have noticed I use a lot of past tense, and that's because this game no longer exists. At the time of writing, of course. Due to the audio update messing up the game and ruining a lot of it, devs shut it down, and decided to start from scratch. Twice. The first was Zomblox, which was supposed to have a new interpretation on the zombies, with them now being glitchy messes from Bandland coming back for revenge. The project seemed to have wanted to stray away from the original, and wanted to be its own thing, only keeping the old Roblox art style, kinda. However, when the team merged with another team of ex-developers that made their own studio, things quickly shifted focus. Now comes the Undead Coming new remake, which is going back to its roots, but with a few changes. First, there will be a point to nabbing items, as now items will be able to have effects from out of the box, kinda like TF2 Unusuals, and there will be a trade mechanic with a trade hangout game to encourage players to get into nabbing hats. Secondly, the game will be more based on mini campaigns and missions, with survival as a secondary game mode. Thirdly, there will be more weapons, more zombies, more maps, more everything basically. The developers actually held a Q&A at the time of writing, telling people basically everything they will be doing. Since I got near the whole thing on file, I'll upload it shortly after uploading this video, so look out for that if it intrigues you. From what I can tell, the game will be releasing again at the earliest December this year. So when that releases, expect me to upload a video. Capiche? Overall, the Undead Coming in its second rendition was quite fun, even if it was flawed on an area or two. And the Undead's first strike should be right around the corner, so you should check it out, kid. Well, that's all for now. See you next time on October Celebrations.